Greetings friends, apologies for the background noises, it's so fucking hot right now, so I'm just going to do a quick video where we will be talking about the decks people use during the Season 13 Scrub League playoffs. The one that you're looking at right now is Dre's deck. I think it's the Diabolos deck. Sadly, he didn't even make top cut with this deck, but he's done quite well throughout the whole season of Scrub League. With a very similar list, although it is missing that notorious scapegoat, which if you haven't heard been banned to Scrub League. But that's his deck list: 2 Armors, 3 Liliths, 3 Darkest Diabolos. Those are the 3 main cards, and of course Lair of Darkness in the deck. Extra decks, pretty just whatever, I guess. That's why he runs Eater of Millions. You can tend to manage pretty much 5 cards in the extra deck. You can just switch that out and into whatever you want. Freeze Calm, actually, that's quite an interesting one. I guess he needs to search the Lilith and stuff, but last, no Mind Crushers, which he used to run. If you watch some of his duel videos, he used Mind Crush to some great utility in Scrub League, but he took it out in playoffs, and I think that was probably one of the bad decisions. That's why he didn't manage to top when we talked about why he took it out, etc. So that's Dre's deck. You guys have been asking for this one for quite a while. He's changed this quite a lot. You can see there's a lot of variants and variations with the cards, like one-offs of limited cards, even, like, or semi-limited, like Ring of Destruction. I'm taking too long talking one deck profile, so we're gonna go into the next one now. Let's go to the one. Okay, this is the worst. Well, not the worst deck. In retrospect, is the worst performing one in the playoff. This one's John's Dark Magician deck, which he said he bricked quite a lot with it. As you saw in his game against Danny, he barely set up any Dark Magician plays. I don't see any problem with the deck list, except maybe like too much Call by the Grave. The Itemize is kind of bricky, Soul Charge is kind of bricky for this deck, which doesn't really fill your grave with enough monsters quickly enough. So there's some dead cards that he does run, maybe for more power plays, like for example Soul Charge. So he went over for that, but it didn't work out for him in the playoffs, sadly, and he made only 2 wins in the whole tournament, and I think he lost his matches throughout. So he won 2 games, but he lost those matches. So pretty bad record. I think that's the worst record in Scrub League playoffs. Maybe there's someone worse before in a different format. Right, so let's go to the next one. Another one. This one didn't actually feature at all in the channel. I thought it would get top cut, but it didn't actually feature. This one's Julian's Madolce deck. It's a bit of a weird deck. He's got like the downbeat build, which he uses for Mekk-Knight, because you get the 2 normal summons with that card, and then you downbeat it, so spec Angeli from the deck, because it's a fairy earth monster as well, which is really weird because I don't expect Mekk-Knight to be part of a combo piece for downbeat. And this is Dice Thing. I think it's one of the new cards in the new sets where you can normal summon additional time depending what you roll, or you spec a card from grave, etc. I've seen some people use it in Madolce's actually, because they need their summons. Pretty standard deck list, but he's sort of prepared for pretty much everything with this sort of deck. A lot of hand traps actually. I'm surprised he played that many hand traps considering it's not even a meta format. Extra deck's pretty normal, I guess. He does run this new card as well, and the new Madolce Link monster for combos, I guess. So that is his profile, which nearly made top cut, but he lost the final round to Danny's Amazoness, which made it miss out on the playoffs top cut spot. And then the last guy who failed to make top cut was Sam, who's won Scrub League before, and he used his favorite Ritual Beast deck. As you saw in one of the feature matches, he beat the Blue Eyes player Ethan, or Crisp, and he was the only one in the tournament to beat him in a match. So that's his deck. Nothing unusual in this deck list. Actually I can't. Yeah, nothing really. Nothing out of the blue out of this. Yeah, this is a pretty normal deck list, I guess, for Ritual Beast. It doesn't even have the Research Lab build, which is the build that I'm used to seeing from Sam, and it doesn't have the Zephyr card as well. But I guess he couldn't get a hold of them in time, or there are reasons why he's not playing those. And yeah, pretty standard build for Ritual Beast. Sadly, Candlehawk's still at 1, so if you strike that card, then I think everyone was pretty much playing a form of a solemn card. Yeah, that is Sam's deck. Let's go to the next one. One of the people who made top 6, Bav's deck. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is one of the decks I was most interested in doing while doing this video. It's Artifact, Chain Beat, Lilith, I guess Lilith's good for searching the artifact sanctums or the other traps that you want. Card Demise to have more back row. As you saw in his feature match in top 6 against Joe, they both went into a very long grindy game and then went into time, which at the end decided who the winner was in overtime. And sadly he just missed out on getting top 4 with this deck, but it's a solid list, I think. The Topologic combo, we didn't see that in the feature match sadly, but he does that quite a lot when he's playing Scrub League, which is quite fun to watch. But that is his list. Who's the other guy who made top 6? Danny, of course. He was in feature match twice and he's playing Amazoness. I was surprised he took out Amazon Scouts when he showed me his list, and of course he rarely plays Evenly and Ash because they're very pricey cards, and I believe he borrowed it for the playoff day, so he has access to those for this deck. I don't know how well that worked out for him. I don't know what else is unusual in this deck. The rest of the deck seems like something he would run. 3 Princess, 3 of that, 2 Village, and he plays 3 field spells because the Poly Searcher is quite a good card to make these guys. I think on the playoff day he only had 8 cards or something in his extra. But he showed me the full one, which is the rank 3 and rank 2s, which he didn't run nothing in a playoff day. I didn't see them when I deck checked him. So on to the next deck, the other Dark Magician player. There were 2 Dark Magicians in the playoffs. You didn't actually see this guy in the feature matches. This is Bolam's Dark Magicians. He usually plays the card Demise variant, so I'm surprised he wasn't running that on the playoff day, and he's actually not meant to be in the playoffs. He's actually just a substitute for Nacho, who was meant to play Fluffles, but sadly the guy was late so he couldn't play. Otherwise this would have been a Fluffle deck list that you're seeing right now, but this is the Dark Magician deck list that you're seeing. The only unusual ones is the triple Mind Crush. I guess that's a lot of information you can get with that card, and double Drowning, which is nice. I guess people don't really expect Drowning when they're attacking directly into Dark Magician's early game or something. But the rest of the cards are pretty Dark Magician-y, like most decks will probably run the Spellbook engine for this deck. Extra deck is just rank 7 and it's a couple of links, I guess, for Tomahawk plays. So nothing unusual in this deck list. Well, he managed to make top 4 with his deck. Now the other top 4 player, which is Joe's Vampire deck. This is a 45 card deck that made top 4 in the playoffs, so well done to that. And I don't really know how good this build is because I don't play vampires at all. It's really strange. There's 2 Zombie Worlds, which didn't really do anything in his matchups. 1 Vampire Kingdom, which I didn't see him use to his benefit during his free feature match games. Maybe with like Vampire Duke combos or something, I don't know. And his extra deck, the Vampire XCs, a lot of them actually. He even has the Dragulus XCs, which is officially not a vampire card, but it's basically part of the lore. Vampire Sucker and Rank Force, along with Synchros, because Unizombie is used in the deck. Now let's see the runner-ups deck. This is Scott's second placed M.A.T deck, which is Mekk-Knight, Artifact, Traptrix, I guess. So instead of the hands, he plays Mekk-Knights because that's part of his meta deck or something. He basically just took out Invoke bits and put in Traptrix, I guess. That's quite a big Traptrix lineup actually. And put a few more trap holes. I don't know what this one is. I think it's Network Trap Hole, but most of the time he searched Bottomless in his feature match, so typical hand trap lineup. And in the feature match game, the final feature match game, he resolved the one-off Earth Ghost, what name? Ghost Spell, that's the name I think. And his extra deck, he has Instant Fusion actually, and he's got some Invoke bits, as you can see over here, because this is basically his Invoke meta deck, but without the invoked. But he can play the Invoke Fusions, I guess, that he can summon off Instant Fusion, and some XCs that can be made with artifacts, with the Traptrix, etc. This has been the deck that most people demanded, and there you go, you can have a look at this, call us a look. Triple Indigo one, triple Violet. That's Indigo, right? I can't remember. I don't know which one's Violet and Indigo. I don't play this deck. This is Red Moon. That's Blue Sky. Only 2 actually. I'm surprised he only plays 2. And he doesn't play the yellow one, which he did run in his meta deck. A lot of traps. The majority are traps and monsters. Only 4 spells actually, which is quite surprising. So he plays like a I guess a trap lineup he preferred, not your typical lineup most people played. And yeah, that's the deck. Let's go and see the winner's deck, which is the Blue Ice deck by Crisp. This is the tiniest deck profile, so we're going to zoom in a little bit. There you go, it's pixelated as fuck though. There is the 3 Blue Eyes, 3 Alternative, 2 Spirits. Some people play 1, he played 2 because it's Scrub League format. I do agree with that, so you should play 2 of these. Even though you draw one of them to brick with, you can use trading I guess. But you need to have this in the deck to spec with the stone, and he plays 3 of that. 1 of the old stone, which is of course pretty much mandatory in this sort of build to get Blue Eyes. Blaze off, 1 Veiler for the Sage. And he does play the Master, which is one of the more odd picks for this deck, which worked out for him I believe in one of his matchups. And some spells, of course. It doesn't have any traps because it's Blue Eyes, you don't need to run traps in this deck to work with it. The spell lineup is pretty standard, nothing unusual honestly. 1 for 1 to get these guys out, so yeah, this makes a lot of sense. He does the Crystal Wing combo with the Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. He also has the Cloud Castle combo with the True King of Cold Calamities or whatever. Link Kuriboh is pretty good because you can just Link Kuriboh off the stones or the Glow Bulb, so you don't die next turn I guess. And his Xyz lineup is your typical Galaxy Monster rank 8 lineup. So yeah, that is the winner's deck profile. This is the season 13 winning deck for the Scrub League playoffs. Congrats to him again, he won the Summon Sorceress. But yeah, that's his deck profile, and hopefully you guys all enjoyed and found all the deck profiles from today's video. Well, net deck away I guess, just have a look, there'll be timestamps down the description below. And what other things do you suggest? A lot of people have been hating on some of the decks I guess, but that's normal, you guys have your own opinions and people have their own preferences. But yeah, that's it for this video for today. Hopefully you can find all these deck profiles quite useful for building your deck in the future. And of course, don't forget to hit that like. That's what people say I guess at the end of videos, right? Alright, so that's it. See you in a bit. It's so hot dude, I need to have a drink. See you in a bit.